Hello and welcome to Sports Talk. I'm your host Sam Higginson, and we're here with Coach Judkins and 4 individual titles in the recent 4A state championship wrestling tournament that happened just a week ago. And we're actually here in the wrestling room at Maple Mountain High School, legitimately where championships were built and made all season long. And so we're grateful to have all of you watching, and we're grateful to have you guys here on the set with us. So why don't we start with you, Coach? Go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll go ahead and introduce all of our wrestlers.
Okay, I'm Coach Justin Judkins. I've been here since the school opened 6 years ago, so this was our 6th season here at Maple Mountain High School.
Awesome.
I'm Tanner Cox, and I'm a junior.
I'm Taylor Lamont, and I'm also a junior.
I'm Cameron Killian, and I'm a senior. I'm Johnny O'Hare, and I'm also a senior.
Well, guys, thanks for being on the set with us today. I know that you guys are just coming off of a major victory, winning individual state titles, and the team took second, had a great season. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but congratulations to all of you guys. I know you have a big tournament coming up tomorrow as well that most of you guys are wrestling in. I think we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But, you know, winning a state championship in wrestling, if for any athlete out there, anybody that's watching Sports Talk knows that it's bar none the toughest thing to do in any sport. Tell us a little bit about your season. Would you agree with that, first of all, and then tell us a little bit about your season?
I would agree with that. I think any sport where it's just one person versus another person, you don't have a team to fall back on, there's a lot more on the line, and if you mess up, it's your own mistake, but if you do it right and get the victory, then it's all you, which is pretty cool.
And one thing you and I talked about before we got on the set was that you know, it doesn't really matter if you're a 1A kid or a 5A kid. I mean, obviously, it's nice to have the numbers to pull in the wrestling room, the kids,
right,
but it really doesn't matter. I mean, it comes down to who the toughest guy is that day.
Yeah, and our team, as a team, you know, we'll go to tournaments where we wrestle the 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A guys and as a team and as an individual. So these guys have been competing against, you know, the 5A division kids all year long too. So.
All right, well, take us through your season. Tell us a little bit about your season from start to finish and some of the high points, maybe some of the low points, and how you finished up.
Okay. I feel like we had a really successful season. There were some really big tournaments that we did well in. The Reno Tournament Champions, there was 94 teams from all over the United States, and we placed 5th as a team. And we have the kind of team where, because of the level of competitors that we have, the tougher the tournament, it usually favors our team because we'll have more kids that will go farther in a tournament like that. So, you know, there was the Rocky Mountain Rumble where there's a big tournament with teams from all over the western United States. We took second there. We just barely lost to Pleasant Grove. We won a big one out at Uinta where there were teams from Colorado and Wyoming and Utah and Arizona. And so we had some really good victories at big tournaments. We placed really high at some big tournaments. But you know, it all really came down to, and our main focus is the state tournament. Yeah. Fell a little short there. We lost to Wasatch. They came in and wrestled a great tournament. And I felt like our guys wrestled tough too. So we did have, as you have mentioned, 4 state champions, which helped us get up there.
So tell me this, we talked at the start of the season, we had you guys on. I think we had a couple of these guys on as well. And we talked about depth being a major factor. And you knew that it was going to come down to depth. Why don't you take the viewers through what depth means in wrestling and how important it is in the state tournament?
Well, simply put, at the state tournament, you can have 2 guys scoring in every weight. Okay. So if you have a good varsity guy and a good JV guy, you could actually score, you know, twice the points as maybe another team, you know. And we did have, we took 21 guys to state out of a possible 28 because you have 14 weights. So we had a lot of JV guys that went to state. Our goal and the thing that we really pushing the JV guys to do is, hey, you've got to win 2-3 matches. Even if you don't place, you've got to earn those points for the team. Yeah.
So how many placers did you guys have this year?
We had 10.
10, and the champion had somewhere
I think they had 13. Is that right, guys?
But you guys led all of 4A with individual titles?
We did.
Okay.
And
so
5A.
4. And 5A. Wow. 4 state titles. Back in the old format, that's something that you probably walk away with a state championship as a team title. Given the fact that wrestling is an individual sport as well as a team sport, how do the two coexist? I mean, is it something you really are fighting for a team championship as well as a state championship, and what becomes more important to the wrestler?
Well, that's a good question. As a coaching staff, and I think we've tried to build this culture, the team race is really, really important. We place emphasis on it all year long, but really what it comes down to, it works pretty cohesively in the fact that if these guys do their job and do well for themselves as individuals, then the team stuff will follow. It'll fall in place. And these guys did everything they could. They won the state title. They earned max amount of points that they could for the team, along with their own title too.
So, Coach, in the last 5 seasons, you guys have either won the state championship, which was twice, as a team, and taken second 3 times. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah.
I think any coach, 1A through 5A in any state, would take that kind of success in any program, in any sport. But what do you attribute that success, that level of success? I mean, it's one thing to look at it and say, well, I had a really good class, when they were freshmen and they carried us for 4 years. But,
right.
You're 5 years into it, and what do you expect for next year kind of deal?
Okay. I think that for a program, at least in wrestling, to be successful, you need several different ingredients, one of which is a really good base program, the junior high and the little league. And we've got a really good program as far as that goes. So we've got a good feeder program. We've been a consistent coaching staff, and I think that consistency over the years has helped. We try to get the toughest schedule that we can throughout the year. We've got great kids in the room as practice partners. So I think all of those things kind of add up to that.
Well, and one thing we talked about a little earlier as well, off the air, was you had these guys here that are on the set with us. We got back-to-back weights. We got a 145-pounder, a 152-pounder. We got a 120 and a 126. And you also mentioned that those JV wrestlers placed as well in those same classes, or those some weight classes. How well does that play into the success? I mean, does that help a lot?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to have tough competition in the room every day. And we've got that. Right through our middleweights, we're really, really tough. At 132 and 138, our guys took third in those weights too. So we've got a good group of guys, kind of a good nucleus in the room that they work hard. They've been on the team several years. They've got the experience, and they're great workout partners.
Well, great. Well, Coach, I know we've spent a lot of time on you. I'm going to get over to the wrestlers here in a minute, but I got a couple more questions for you. But before we do that, we're going to take a break, so stay tuned. We'll be right back with the state champs. Hey, welcome back to Sports Talk. I'm your host, Sam Higginson, and again, we're here in Maple Mountain's wrestling room. Maple Mountain's coming off a fantastic season. They had 4 individual titles, placed 10 guys in the recent 4A Wrestling State Championship Tournament. I'm here with Coach Judkins. In the earlier segment, we had a chance to hear from Coach Judkins about the ups and downs and the success of the year. And we're going to get a little bit later, we're going to talk to you about what do you expect for next year. So at the end of this interview, we'll kind of move on to the class of 2016 and we'll find out what the wrestling season looks like then. But what I would like to do now is turn some time over to the wrestlers. 4 individual state championships. Again, Coach and I talked a little bit about it. One of the toughest things in any sport, and I don't think any athlete out there would disagree, you guys were able to pull it off. Tanner, I'm going to start with you. You were kind of the favorite coming in. Are you a returning state champ?
Yeah.
So this is your second state championship back-to-back?
Yeah.
I guess you would be probably considered the favorite coming in, is that right?
Yeah.
What was your record throughout the year? Do you even know?
Going into state, I think it was 59-8.
59-8.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So, I mean, that's a lot of wrestling.
Yeah.
And that's just during the season. You guys do a lot of wrestling before that and club wrestling and things like that. But tell me this, what's it like being the favorite coming in?
You have a target on your back that everybody's gunning for you. You know that you have to wrestle to your potential every match. Just to get the job done.
Do you find yourself sometimes wrestling conservatively? I know that's a term that coaches use sometimes. where you catch yourself out there just trying not to lose?
Yeah, for sure. Maybe more in like the finals since you got big stuff on the line, but
yeah. And it's I'm sure that drives a coach crazy because you want them to go out there and just attack, right, all the time. But you know, being a favorite, you definitely have that target on your back, and it does make life a little tougher.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And the target, you're only a junior, so you're going to be returning for a third attempt to win 3 in a row. That target's just going to get bigger and bigger and brighter and brighter, right?
yeah, it's gonna be there next year.
All right. Let's move over to Taylor. Taylor, you were also a favorite coming in. Are you also a back-to-back state champ?
Yeah.
Is this your second in a row?
It's my third.
Third in a row. So you're going for a fourth next season.
Yep.
How many 4-time state champs have there been in the state of Utah? Do you know?
I'm not sure in the state of Utah.
Probably we could count them on 2 hands.
I think there's more now.
More now?
Yeah.
More now? Okay, but it's still an amazing feat to be able to win it as a freshman, a sophomore. You win it as a junior.
Yep.
You've got to win it next year. So your target, like Tanner's, is also big. How do you deal with that?
I don't know. I like to go into every match just the same way, just do my stuff and try not to worry. Just state finals match is the same thing as same way I'm going to wrestle another match. So.
Do you ever get caught up though, trying to be conservative and trying to not get too crafty, too tricky?
Every once in a while, when I know I have a solid opponent who knows what he's doing, I'll make sure I just stick with my basics, and I won't try anything crazy. I'll just be smart. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Cameron. Cameron, you're a senior,
I am.
and you just won a state championship at the weight class 145.
Yeah.
Is this your first state championship?
This is my first, yeah.
This is your first state championship. How did you do the previous 3 years?
Last year, I came into the state tournament, and second match, I believe, I rolled my ankle and I wasn't able to finish the tournament. So it was actually.
Were you the favorite going in?
I wasn't, but I was.
Right up there.
Yeah, I
in
was.
the group? So this year you were able to stay healthy and
I
win
was.
it.
Yeah.
Tell me this: in every wrestling state championship and every individual title, Tanner, you've experienced it now twice. Taylor, you've experienced it now 3 times. Once for you. There's always seems to be that one match that is just a barn burner, a really tough match. Did you have any of those this year?
Absolutely. My last match in the state.
Championship
Yeah.
match?
Yeah. It was. I was very tired.
Had you wrestled this
Very
guy
tired.
before?
I had, but it was really close. So I didn't come in super confident, but
Yeah.
I knew I'd
What
beat
did
him
you?
before.
What was the final score in that match?
In the previous match, or
Yeah.
it was
Well,
5 to.
Yeah, in the previous match.
Previous
and then
match
in
was
the
5 to
championship.
3. The championship was 8 to 3. So I
8-3. Good.
so I extended the.
That's kind of a dominating performance in
Yeah.
wrestling nowadays because there's
Yeah.
a lot of 1 and 2 point matches. All right, let's move over to Johnny. Johnny, tell us about your wrestling experience here at Maple Mountain. You're a senior, just won it at 152. Is this your first?
This is my second.
Second, back to back?
Yep.
So you won it as a junior and a senior.
Yes,
What's
I
it
did.
like to go out as a champion, especially a back-to-back champion?
It feels really good to know that I was favored too, and
Yeah,
to know that I was confident to win it again this year.
and that probably adds some additional pressure going into your senior year. You only have 1 year to do it. You're the favorite going in. Is there any difference between where Tanner's at as a junior?
No, not really. I'm like Taylor too. I just go into every match the same way.
Yeah. And what was your record this year?
I think it was around like 55-1.
55-1. Who was the only guy that beat you?
Kid from Arizona in the Reno Tournament of Champions.
Wow, in the championship match.
No, he beat me in the semifinals in
Okay.
triple overtime.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So tell me this: do you have any aspirations to wrestle on beyond high school?
Yes, I signed with UVU. I'm going to wrestle 4 years in college, and then I have a goal of going to the Olympics in 2020.
Awesome. So you start next fall. You'll be over at UVU.
Yes, I will.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. All right, back to Cameron. Cameron, you talked about this earlier. You faced an injury last year that pushed you out of the state championship match. Did you guys, as a team, anybody, and you can speak for everyone here, what kind of injuries did you guys deal with this year?
It varies. There's always injuries. Like I said, I rolled my ankle, sprained it pretty bad, but everybody kind of is fighting through injuries at the very end of the year.
Yeah.
So it's just a mental thing. So you got to push through it.
And did you have any personal injuries you had to overcome?
This
Anything?
year, no. This
Nothing.
year I still stayed pretty healthy. So
You guys all have a few battle wounds, though, right? That's one of the things that wrestlers get to show off. Usually, it's something to do with the ears, or a nose or something. You got some.
Tanner's
good ones?
definitely
Yeah,
got it.
Tanner's got some cauliflower. The rest of you guys have been pretty good about wearing your headgear, obviously. All right. Well, tell me this. Moving back over to Taylor, tell us about your toughest match this year in the state tournament.
In the state tournament, probably my toughest match was actually my semifinals. It was against the Wasatch kid, and I was definitely favored going into the match, and it was a team race, so I knew I needed the pin, and the Wasatch kid knew he just needed not to get pinned.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a match of who was going to win. It was a match of
Could you pin him or
if
not?
I could pin him or not. And I didn't end up getting pinned. He did a great job of fighting off, did what the team needed him to do. But
Have you wrestled this kid a lot?
yeah, I wrestled him 3 times this year.
And you beat him all 3 times?
Yeah,
What was your final record this year?
61-0.
61-0. Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. How about you, Cameron?
mine was the end was 58-6, I believe.
58-6. All right. Fantastic. I guess if you're winning a state championship, those are kind of numbers that you hear a lot of. I mean, it's very uncommon to hear a state championship that's 25-25, right?
Right.
Yeah, that just doesn't happen
that's
very
not
often.
happen.
So congratulations. I mean, that's pretty amazing. You guys have a big wrestling tournament coming up tomorrow. We'll bounce this over to Tanner. Tanner, you guys have a major wrestling tournament coming up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's called Superstate, and top 8 get to go from state. So from each classification, top 8 get to go.
Is this 1A through 5A?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if you win, then this year they're paying $600 for you to go either to what's called Flow Nationals or just Folk Style Nationals.
Okay, so it's not sponsored by the Utah High School Activities Association. It's a separate deal.
It is endorsed by them.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's endorsed by them. But I'm sure that there's private money helping them to do
Yeah.
these other additional
Right.
tournaments. Okay, final question. I'll go back over to Johnny. Johnny, wrestling, does it end now? I mean, you're a senior, and you obviously are going to be wrestling in college, and you can maybe speak to these other guys. Does wrestling end now that Superstate's tomorrow and your state championship was over last week? Does it end, or you guys continue?
No, we continue throughout the year. We do freestyle and Greco. Me, Tanner, and Taylor do, and we just go to local tournaments around Utah, and then we usually go to national tournaments.
Okay, great. Well, guys, I'm going to come back. We got just a few more questions, but we're going to take one more break before that. But there's a couple of things we want to talk about, including Superstate and what you guys look forward to, as well as you, Coach, for next year. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to the third and final segment of this week's Sports Talk. I'm here with Coach Judkins in the 4 individual state championships for the wrestling tournament this past week. We're right here in the wrestling room, and Coach, there's a lot of great memories that are created right in this room, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, this is where the state championships, the region championships, the Reno tournaments, this is where they're won and lost.
Right. This is where all the hard work takes place.
Well, tell me this, Coach. This upcoming week is Superstate, or actually tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Is Superstate. Is
Yeah.
it something that is televised? Is anybody?
It's
get out
not
and
televised, but you can follow it on trackwrestling.com.
watch it? Okay, so track wrestling, and can you actually watch it or just watch the scoring?
They don't have it. I don't think they have this one streamed,
Okay.
but they have live updates on the scores.
So is this a big deal?
I think it is for 2 reasons. Well, for the wrestlers and for college coaches. So they've got some college coaches that are coming in, and I think it is important because they take all of the people that have placed at state through all 5 divisions, and they go to one big tournament. So now these guys have a chance to wrestle against the 3A state champion or the 5A state champion,
Okay.
and that's important for for college recruiting.
Now, when you say the top 8, are you saying the 8th place person in 4A has an opportunity to wrestle in this
Right.
tournament? Okay.
Yeah, they invite them.
And is it a one-day tournament?
Yes,
So it happens pretty quickly.
tomorrow. Yeah.
So what's bigger, and I'll ask both you and the guys this, what's bigger to win, the Superstate or a 4A state championship?
Really, the 4A state championship. I think mostly a lot of that is because of tradition, because
Yeah.
since the beginning of high school athletics, that's been the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
They've started this. I think this is our 3rd year of doing the Superstate, and so it's gaining ground and getting more popular. But you still have those guys that, they won a state title, they accomplished their goal that they had since they were little, and they don't necessarily want to put that on the line all the time.
Now, from what I understand, Superstate is an optional thing, so
Yeah.
not all of the guys are going to show up.
Right.
How do they figure that out in terms of bracketing? Say, in one class you only get 6 from 4A and 5 from 5A. How do they work that out?
They'll seed it just kind of generally.
Based on the champion down
yeah,
to the 8th place.
exactly.
So there'll be a few bias, inevitably.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Guys, tell me this. I'll start over here with Johnny. Johnny, you have state Superstate tomorrow. What's more important, 4A state title or Superstate tomorrow?
Like Coach Judkins said, it's more tradition. So I think 4A state championship is more important.
But you have a great record on the line, so it's kind of important for you to win that tomorrow too, right? You're not going in there
Yeah, it is.
going to accept second place.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Let's jump over to Cameron. Cameron, how about you? Are you going to wrestle in the Superstate, or are you still undecided?
I'm still undecided, but it's definitely
I think these guys are going to
option.
get you to say yes by the end of the night.
probably.
It's your only last chance, right?
Yeah,
Unless you
right.
continue your career, and you've talked a little bit about that. You may or may not continue your career.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's been a goal since I was really little. So
To win a state
Yeah.
championship
Yeah.
and kind of ending on a high.
hmm
I can see that a little bit too.
yeah.
All right, guys, let's pass it down the line. Taylor, what's bigger?
I think, like they said, tradition, it's the 4A, but Super State I think is really nice because you get the brackets are smaller, but you get to see tougher kids, and like Tanner said earlier, if you win, they're actually gonna buy your plane ticket and a hotel room to fly out to Pennsylvania or Iowa for nationals. So
Which is totally worth it, right?
which is a big thing. So.
All right.
I'd have to agree with everybody else, probably 4A and 5A. But I think in the future, I think Superstate will be more important.
Well, I think it certainly, from a team's perspective, it's definitely, I think the 4A state championship is a big deal.
Right.
But I can see as a sports fan that, these guys, they want to go in and win it. They're not going there for second place. And so if you win it, you can really say, I was the best wrestler at the weight class of 152 in the entire state.
Yeah.
1A through 5A, nobody was better than me. And I guess, for a recruiter, that probably means a whole lot, right?
It does. Coaches will say, well, hey, he's a 2-time state champion. And then the college coach asks, well, how many divisions are there in the state?
Yeah.
And that you do have states where they only have one state championship for the whole team, for the whole state. Like California, you've got all of those schools but one state champion. And so that carries a lot of weight when it comes to recruiting.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. All right, so tell me this. I'm going to start with you, Tanner. We've only got a few minutes left, but is this your greatest accomplishment so far in your life, this past week of winning state championship?
No, I'd probably have to say 2 years ago I made the world team for Greco. Probably have to say that was my biggest accomplishment.
Yeah, cool. All right. Taylor, biggest accomplishment this last one? So far.
I don't think so. It's definitely one of my highlights, but I like competing at the national level, at the world level, and I like traveling all over the world to wrestle.
Okay. Cameron.
For me,
Yeah.
it definitely was. Like I said, it was.
You're a senior, going
senior,
out on
yeah.
top. That probably means a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
What tops this for you?
For me, probably the nap afterwards. Go home, but no.
Nap afterwards.
yeah.
That's gotta be. That actually tops having your hand raised in the center of that ring.
It's the relief afterwards.
All right, Johnny. Is it so far in your life? Being able to be a three-peat?
Two.
No, two times.
Yeah,
two times.
two.
That's right.
Probably so far, but this year I'm going to try to make the world team for Greco.
So that tops it.
So,
You can
yeah,
make that.
it's going to top it this year.
Cream of the crop.
Yes, it is.
All right, well, you guys did a fantastic job today and a really fantastic job last week. Congratulations on all of the success. Congratulations, Coach, on another great year. But before we leave, I want to ask you just one final question. How does next year look? I know that you got a couple of returners, have great records, returning titles. What does next year look like?
You know, I'm really excited about next year. We lose some really good guys, obviously Johnny, Cameron. We had a heavyweight that took third. And so those are points that are going to be really missed, and their leadership is going to be missed. But I'm really excited because it's fun as a coach to watch kids develop over the course of an entire year. And so you've got some kids that really work hard in the off season, and it's cool to see the hard work pay off in the next season. So we've got guys that have the work ethic. They've got the opportunities to do stuff through freestyle and Greco in the spring and summer. And so we plan on doing a lot of wrestling. We've got a good crop of freshmen coming in from the junior high. I think there's 10, 11 kids that will come in and make an immediate impact. So
awesome.
We're pretty excited for next year.
Well, great. You heard it right here on Sports Talk. Another fantastic season this year in class of 2014. Congratulations to all the championships. Congratulations, Coach, on a great year. And sounds like we're going to have another great year next year and for years to come here at Maple Mountain. So thanks for joining us today on Sports Talk. We'll see you next time.